What is going on, guys? Welcome to the Wednesday night live stream. Happy Wednesday. So today I do a good old kind of Q&A session. So if you guys have any questions as we go, feel free to ask away. What is going on, Cruz? Good to see you, buddy. Oh, it's been a while. Reef Doink, Shelly, welcome. Paul. So Paul was asking, first of all, nice to finally catch it live. How long was my ugly stage on the water box? So I kind of answered you in the chat, but since we're live now, that was actually pretty good on my side. It was, I don't think it was long at all, but I also did use a ton of bacteria and I also did pre-cycle it. So I had the rock before I actually had the tank, so I kind of mocked it up, made my skate, and then I put in a big brute trash can with a power head and a heater, and I used Brightwell Quickstart XLM, and I was feeding with ammonia. So I had it cycled in probably less than 2 weeks, and then there was another month or so, 3 or 4 weeks, where I just kept feeding it bacteria and randomly, and I'd feed it ammonia every few days. I just kept the ammonia level high to kind of like simulate my future fish load, and I kind of pre-built it up so it was ready for a bigger fish load. So that made a big difference. Good to see you, Cruz. Teacher Reef, welcome. Reef Addicts, welcome. What's going on, Mark, Andy, David? I am doing well, thank you. Cruz, holy smokes, off the bat with a sweet super chat. Thank you so much, Cruz, much appreciated. I definitely appreciate that, and I need to have you on again one day because it's been far too long. Thank you, Cruz. Thank you. You'll have... How do you like the new Apex LLS sensor? I think it's pretty sweet. I do have the one on this tank, which is refilling my ATO, and basically every day or so, or every two to three days-ish, it refills my ATO, and that has been working flawlessly well. You can see on the main screen. Focus. If it focuses, my ATO level, and if you check out the charts on it, it's kind of funky because you can kind of see there's my level as it slowly goes down over a couple days, refills, goes down over a couple days, refills. So that's been pretty good. Cruz, again, thank you. Level sensors are super cool. I'm picking up another one in the next day or two, and I'm going to use that one on my little space saver container. That is a huge thing for me. Those space saver containers, those little skinny ones, I have one for RODI water for the auto testers on the water box. And right now there's a solenoid on an optical sensor, but I can't really fit a float valve or anything through that little mouth on it. So I tested with a little 4-inch one and it fits inside of there. So I'm going to pick up a 15-inch one and put it in that bin and use that to control kind of when the solenoid can be opened or closed to refill the ATO. So I'm super stoked about that one. So I do think that is. What would you use the updated FMM alarms for, and how would you program them? I haven't tried it yet, but I will. But I think you can program it like any alarm. I would probably use it as a leak sensor, be my main thing. So if you have the level sensor in a bin and it overflows, then you can do an audible alarm. Or if you have water on the floor, an audible alarm. Like, those are the stuff that I'd want to know about. You don't want to be too crazy with the audible alarms, or else it'll just be annoying. You'll turn it off. So you got to keep it for the important things. I think that's a big part of it. How do the radions work for you? Radions are freaking awesome. I do love them. They're not the cheapest lights in the world, but they are definitely tried and true. They do have stellar spread, which is amazing, and great color. So since I put the G6s on the water box, you're actually seeing coral, or my big overhang rock. There's one thing that sticks out to me. Like, it's a big overhang, and there's zoas growing underneath it now, like wrapping around it, just because that much spread and bounce light, which is super cool. Jeff, 2-hour drive home listening to this. Not a bad drive. Happy to make your drive better. Teacher Reef, loved your reef dip video on KFC. Thank you. That was most of my week last day, doing daily dips for about 4 or 5 days. And so far, everything's looking awesome. It's looking happy. Time will tell, obviously. Like, it's not going to grow back overnight, but over the next month or so, I'm really curious to see how much of the flesh band and stuff kind of grows back down, and that's going to be the biggest thing. But if you look at the comments of the video, there's so many people that said they've used that dip and it's worked really well for them. So on that note, I think we will draw for the giveaway for the live stream that we did. I think there's a handful of people who entered that one, so we'll do that draw for a bit and give away some dips. And we're gonna have a winner from Canada and a winner from US, so should be fun. Okay, Kelvin, can one G6 XR15 be enough for an LPS tank that's 36 inches long? It depends on your rockscape. It would, on a 2-foot tank, I would say for sure. A 3-foot tank, you might be able to get away with it if the light is mounted high enough. But roughly, you know, if you have more of an island, I'd say yes. If you have wall-to-wall stuff, then I'd probably want to. Avish, how are the torches doing? Any better than the KFC video? Yep, I look at them today. They're all out. They're all happy. Again, it's time's going to tell for the flesh to go kind of grow back down, but all the heads I've fragged off, everything's happy. There's 2 in here, 1 there. There's another one in my sump. I kind of put a couple in each tank just to compare and see if there's a difference, but it would be good. Mark, can the audio alarm be set up as an announcement on an Amazon Alexa? I don't think so. I don't think you can push anything to Alexa. I think Alexa can only send them commands to Fusion, but that's like a programming thing, so that would be up to Neptune to do on their side. If you're going to buy a new tank, what brand would you choose and why? So this tank is a custom tank made by Concept Aquariums in Calgary. My big tank, my Peninsula, is a water box. I've been very happy with both tanks. Aquaforest also makes sweet tanks, as does what's the other one called? Yeah, there's tons of them. Honestly, any of the premium tanks, they're nice. Like, I don't plan aquariums as much. There's a lot. If you're going for like the standard off-the-shelf ones, I mean, I've been very happy with my water box. I've had smaller Red Sea tanks and been happy. I've heard mixed things about some of the big ones and the seams. I've had innovative marine tanks have been great, so it really is a toss-up on that one. Bruno, what is the best way to raise pH in an all-in-one? Thinking about calc, no experience with what I'm doing. Okay, so with calc is the easiest way to help boost it up. It's going to help absorb some of that CO2 and raise your pH. Easy way, if you have a skimmer on it, feeding it outside air could for sure work. I mean, you could take outside air and feed it through even an air stone in the back or something, right? And just produce that oxygen at nighttime. That would help. Refugium obviously help, but that is trickier in an all-in-one. Calc, the only problem with calc in an all-in-one is generally you want to drip it in, so it'd have to be higher than your tank. So then you have this big gear sitting up there. So it's doable, it just wouldn't look as pretty. Aussie Dan, thoughts on feeding Phyto to Zoas, pros and cons. I don't know if Zoas will eat Phyto or not. I've never really target fed it. I more or less just dump it in and broadcast feed the whole tank, let the Baharids bloat around, and whatever takes it, takes it. Innovative Marine, yes, I've had 3 Innovative Marine tanks, and I've liked them overall. They've been good tanks. Macy's Daddy, have you used any of the Neptune fluid level sensors? Yes, I have, and I think they're sweet. We were talking about at the beginning of the stream. I think they're really cool sensors. I do have the 15-inch one in there, and I do have the little 4-inch one. I haven't used that one yet, but I might pick up a 15-inch one probably this week, order one, and then eventually I want to get the 2-foot ones and put them in my mixing bins, but baby steps. But I think I'm going to do the little one first, because that refills. It's going to fit in the mouth of the space saver container, which is going to do that for my auto testers, so just make it easier to fill those. Okay, so calc in an calc in an ATO reservoir is probably your best bet on a nano. Good call on that one, Mark. I haven't done that in so long, but the only downfall is calc in your ATO will be harder on your pump. So as you're dosing it to the tank, it is definitely, you'll have to clean them more often. It's pretty much what it comes down to. Bruno, belated thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate that. So I believe it's, I never remember if it's tablespoons or teaspoons, but one of the 2 per gallon is what will dissolve inside of it. So on the note, I had a question emailed into me from Stefan. Had an Avast marine calc, sir. I'm not happy. It does not seem to dissolve the calc as I expected. What's your experience with the ice cap one? Is it better than Avast? I tried Avast on a Magster, but the base of the tooth is thick. So calc is only going to dissolve up to 2 scoops, whatever, per gallon. So the whole point, so you're never going to get it fully dissolved. And that's kind of the point of the calcster, is you're pushing RODI water through it, and you're slowly dissolving it as it's being used up. So as you dose them, you add more RODI to it, the potency lowers, but then the calcsters bring the potency back up. So that's kind of the point, is you don't have to mix it up manually all the time. So it's going to work the same way with any calc reactor. If you like doing more of the slurry style, I'm gonna say the ice cap works a bit better for that, because you can keep it more of a slurry, more milky, where the vast marine is made to be more that clear layer on top. Now I've been playing with mine and adding more fins and more random stuff to make it more milky throughout, so it's not quite a slurry, but it's more potent overall. And that's kind of how I've been working it. And then I've been playing with ideas and making my own version of one, so we'll see. I'm still experimenting, trying to hunt some parts for some ideas that I have. Paul, have you changed your light settings since going to G6? I don't think so, and if I have, it's been very minor. People have been asking for my new schedule. I'm going to say it's probably 95% the same as my prior schedule in the G5s. I've probably tweaked it a little bit, but I'll do an updated one and pass out my new file soon. Curious about calc and their ATO, that's easy. Do you still microbubble? I have not microbubbled on my new tank. If I was going to do it though, I'd do it with outside air to get the extra pH boost of it. I do it if I'm treating stuff. If I'm using like something like a chemi-clean or something that takes oxygen out of the water, I will throw in a power head with it, like an air stone, and I'll make sure there's extra oxygen all throughout the tank. But I don't do it every day at the moment. Set up a skimmer. Oh, skimmer CO2 recirculating seemed to help with pH. Yeah, CO2 media definitely does help. Again, on an all-in-one tank, that would be tricky. I'd rather dose than the O2O method. I've never dosed it outside of a calc reactor. You could, like, some people will mix up like a gallon and they'll sit it there and they'll drip it, but I don't know. To me, it's a lot of work to do that every day. Cody, what's your opinion on adding a pair of clownfish as the first fish to a new tank? Would you be concerned they would be aggressive towards any other fish thereafter? I have clownfish is probably my second fish ever in a saltwater tank, and I think you're fine. Clowns for the most part are pretty peaceful in general. That being said, if they're mating or they have eggs, then they're definitely more territorial. I have been the odd headbutt and little nip from them if they're, you know, you're by their nem or their home. But aside from that, I find they're pretty peaceful to other fish. So I think for the most part, you'll be good there. Thanks for answering my question. No problem. Scuba Stevo's Aquatics. How do you know what kind of refugium light to get for a 20-gallon sump? If the budget allows, I would say the AI Prime Fuge works really well. I'm using that one on my water box one. It's roughly, I don't even think it's 20 gallons. It's probably more like 15-gallon-ish size, but it's been working really well. It grows super crazy. I'm very happy with it. Cruise, I still microbubble even on my freshwater tanks. Helps polish the water. Okay, it definitely does help polish it. I also have UV and ozone and a filter roller, so there's definitely lots of polishing going on there. But I haven't, so I did microscope bubble scrubbing videos way back in the day, but it does, basically it turns your tank into like a giant protein skimmer in a way. All the little bubbles will come up and it'll bind any organics and it'll take it out your overflow. So it does definitely help clean your water, but I have so much stuff that does it anyways. One of the reasons I haven't in a while. Mark, I'm not running it through the media scrubber. It's just a line running from the Venturi into the skimmer cover. Perfect. Oh, so you're just recirculating the skimmer with itself. Interesting. So basically you're just not pulling in as much atmosphere air that likely has higher pH. So that makes sense. Bruno, I'm thinking more of an automatic doser through the night when the pH drops. I would still do a calc reactor, but you can absolutely do that. Or even just dose alkalinity at night if you're dosing anyways. Trent, any pro tips on gluing coral to an aquascape? Find somewhere it naturally fits or wedges into and then glue it. If you're trying to balance a little point on something flat, you know it's going to fall over, right? But if you find a little groove, it sits, then you glue it, then it will do it. That's usually one of the biggest things. If you are trying to put it in some kind of precarious spot, you can try using like a putty or something with super glue, like make your little putty thing and put a dab of glue inside, and I find that kind of works well. Have I used the Red Sea filter roller? I have not. I have the Clarity one, so I have a Clarity on both tanks, and I've been happy with them, so I have not tried the Red Sea, but a couple of people I've talked to seem to really like it. If you're running calc, do you just dedicate dosing based on the elk level you want, or where do you find the calcium level settles at? So you will get calcium and elk out of it, and like some of them will even give you a bit of magnesium as well. So it is fairly complete dosing calc. Like I know the Brightwell one, you know, they advertise there's magnesium in there as well. So in my tank, I have more. So if on this one prior, when I first started it, I had an ATO plus I had the calc reactor. So it was dosing that and my ATO just worked less. On my big tank, I have my auto top off has been turned off for months. Like I haven't used it in probably four months now. My calc is replaced. I dose as much calc as my tank evaporates. I'm dosing as much as I possibly can. So I just look at my water level in my sump every once in a while, and I'll just tweak my calc feed pump a little bit up or down until it keeps it stable. Now I also have a calcium reactor and dose on top of it, just because I have so much coral in there. I can't keep up with the demand with calc alone. But so it depends. So just put it in and your ATO will work less if you have a lower demand tank. If you have a higher demand tank, then I would just max it out as much as your tank can handle the evaporation. Aussie Dan, I bought a prime fuge with your diffuser plates. A few days later, I had 0 nitrates and 0.0 phosphates. Now I need to raise my nitrates. Great fuge light. So there you go. One, heck yes, thank you for the fuge light things. Hopefully you like them. I actually just decided to print some white ones for fun for mine the other day. People have asked, I tried some, so I got some little custom white ones the other day. But they work well, keeps all the light out of your skimmer, so definitely check out the VCA Reefdudes Prime Fuge lights, because I think they're pretty sweet. Speaking of Prime Fuge, what are your settings at? All 100% intensity? I think mine are at about 85% on all channels, but it depends on where it's at. If you are bottoming out your nutrients, then just lower the percentage or the duration. You know, if you're running for 12 hours, drop it down to 10 hours. Or if you're running 100%, maybe drop it down to 80%. So you can kind of use the intensity to control how much horsepower is going into your chaeto growth. So it's an easy way to kind of tweak your nutrients around it. James, how long did it take you to notice a change in your water after you started UV? I was using ozone prior to using UV, so I can't say I noticed a big difference. If you just use UV, yeah, I don't know. That's a tricky one. I can't say for sure, because I've always used ozone first, and ozone works really good. Background music is too loud for your earbuds. All right, I'll turn it down a little bit. There you go. Less background music for you. Pro tips on a tank move. I got one coming up on a 30-gallon all-in-one. On a 30-gallon. 30 gallons not bad. Take the fish out and put them in bucket. Like get a 5-gallon bucket. And take your fish out, and I'm assuming you want to do the same thing with the rock and coral. Again, put them in another bucket. I would not put the rock and fish in the same bucket, because you risk, stuff shifting around, smacking them, just for safety purposes. Do that, and then just, drain most of the water out of the tank, leave a bit to cover the sand or whatever's on there and move it from there. But that's been, when I've acquired tank moves or kind of split them with other people, that's more or less how we took down stuff. And that's worked pretty well. Matt, setting up a water box, 6025 Peninsula. Nice. What's your thoughts? What suggestions would you have for adding a filter roller? Okay, so the easiest solution is going to be the KLIR ones that stick right into a sock hole. It's just going to fit. It's going to be easy. I painstakingly took out the baffle so that I could fit a Clarice in there, because I wanted a really big filter roller. Now that's one consideration. Now the other consideration is you could still either have socks or bypass your socks and put it in a second chamber. Like I remember Jay from Ecotech, when I was visiting his office, he had the Clarice just running off a little tiny pump inside of his sump, so it was still filtering the water but wasn't filtering all the water because it still went around it. So that's another consideration. Mark, GHL, Apex, or Hydros? That's a really tricky question. I have them all. I played with them all. It's still a tricky question. So GHL makes awesome stuff. Their hardware, I'm going to say, is really good. It's really well built, but their software is not as friendly. Hydros has better software. It's pretty easy, but it's not quite as customizable. I'm going to say Neptune probably has the best interface. But see, it's tricky. Like there's different ones for different reasons. I'm using Apex primarily. Just I know it the best. I'm the most flexible with it. I can do custom stuff with it. Some of the other ones, not quite there. Like Hydros is still new. It's definitely getting better, and they're definitely coming with more cool stuff. But yeah, Neptune's the oldest one, so I think they're the most mature. They're all gonna work. They're each gonna have their pros and cons. So it's a tricky one. W.Aquarius. How's the torch corals doing post KFC dip? Is it possible to replace Brightwell Lugal's iodine with tropic marin iodine? Yes, it is. I don't necessarily think the brand of the iodine matters because they're still iodine, right? It's the same thing, different label. So I would say you're fine on that one if you already have it. Suction cups are your friends moving tanks. They are. For 30 gallon, I'm pretty sure you're fine without suction cups, but for big tank, it definitely helps. I manhandled with like 5 friends to get the water box upstairs. Oh, that was so heavy. That thing was a beast. This one I like walked in vertically through the door. Like, yeah, it's definitely nice to have. Almost went insane putting the 5,000 to the 725 sump. Yeah, it was a bugger. It's doable, but it's a bugger. Well, you should see the eShop sump I had before, where I used one of those little like reciprocating saws and like cut out the whole saw carry and fit it. It was a bugger to get that one in there and get the bulkhead and piping in. That was such a bugger, but it's doable. But yeah, it was a lot of work. Going custom always is. It's fun. It's good you put into it. I like my hydros have been teasing for announcement of new products. I don't know. They won't tell me. I asked. But I might have them on my stream to talk about whatever the new projects are, but they will not spill what it is yet, so we'll find out. Probably right after Machna, I will probably have them on because I'm curious too. We'll see what the new goodies are. Patrick, how high are my lights off the rim of your tank? I believe they're between 8 and 9 inches. On the other tank and this tank, they are same thing. These are a little over 8, so 8 to 9 on rough. How long do I run my UV? I run 24/7. I don't turn it off unless I'm dosing something that says turn off your UV. So I basically always run it. Port Wolf, welcome, buddy. Welcome. Good to see you. Yep, UV 24/7. Ozone, that one I just run at nighttime in the middle of the night in the wee hours. Okay, Graham's one that he emailed in later. Make it fit. I love your DIY light bar. Trying the same thing. I can't find the lumen extrusion that you used. I purchased 2020, but it's too small. So 2020 could very well be like 20 mils. It depends where you buy it from. If you buy it online, like some of the China ones, 2020 could be 20 mils. Now, if you buy it in North America from like the 80/20 stuff, then you're probably getting 2 inch by 2 inch, which is going to be a lot stronger. So you gotta look a little bit where you bought it and confirm the size. On my tank, not this one, the water box, I have 15/15, which is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. And that works really well. Of where to buy it, I did have some Amazon links, you want to use those, but if not, find a local metal shop so you don't have to deal with shipping. I bought mine in Canada from, first time was Rocky Mountain Metals, and the other one is CPI Automation. So those are 2 you can look at if you're in Canada. If you're in the States, I don't know, just Google 80/20 and see who around you sells it. Patrick, thank you, the man, great channel. Thank you, Patrick. JCS, appreciate it. You're welcome. Jumbo, I have 3 Aptasia anemones in the tank on the larger side now. Usual peppermint Bergia hasn't approached it. They're probably scared because it's so big. On that one, I would probably just manually attack it with something like F Aptasia or copious amounts of super glue. And that tends to work well. Usually if they're too big, it's harder for the little guys to go after it. So just super glue, F Aptasia, either one. I think they work pretty well. Hydros picked up Reef delete. Parameter, Senai. Interesting. I wonder if they did. It would be cool if they somehow integrate it into the Hydros. The one thing I do like about the Hydros is like Alcatronic, Mastertronic, like all these other testers, it just works with. Like, you don't even need a cable, you don't need a module, like it just works. And I really appreciate it about that. I think it's cool how they'll work with stuff. And I think that is a huge thing that hopefully more of the controllers adapt that mentality, because the more stuff you're compatible with, the better experience it is for us as a hobbyist side, right? So I think that's really cool. And I definitely love that about them. So I hope more of them take note. So I think it's awesome. Thank goodness YouTube Premium. I listen to all your streams as a podcast here in Journey. Ah, awesome. Thanks, Ugly Reefer. I have been asked a bazillion times to turn to podcasts, so I might one day get motivated and strip out the audio from all my old ones and just start randomly uploading them. And yeah, hopefully I will get around to that soon, because I've been asked a bazillion times, so I apologize, but I probably should do it. Come up with any new excuses for new tanks. Nope, no excuses at the moment. The problem is you got to maintain them all, and it's a lot of work to maintain too many tanks. The water box is actually really easy. I do hardly anything on it now. I just tweak the parameters once in a while, and for the most part, it's really easy. This one is still growing pains, bits of ugly, bits of algae. It's not as pristine yet, so eventually. I thought about doing like a little nano one podcast. So I have 2 different podcasts with 2 different people that I've recorded and started, but we've never we have a few episodes, but the problem is we need time to edit and turn it into something. So eventually there will be one. There's honestly 2 to 3 different podcasts and handfuls of random episodes been recorded, but there's just one day it has to get edited, and that's like a whole another few hours to do every episode. And yeah, so eventually we'll come. Don't worry, one day, I promise. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys one last heads up on this one, because I'm gonna do the drawing today. On 2 or 3 weeks ago, the stream that I did with Kung Fu Corals, we had a thing to enter the contest, and I'm gonna link this right now in the chat. So if you haven't watched it, I mean, you should watch it later, but in the next little bit, I'm going to do a contest. So either USA or Canada. Enter that one with your reefing tip and tell me if you're USA or Canada, because I already pulled most of the comments off it. I'm going to give it like 20 more minutes, and I'm going to pull some more comments, and maybe I'm going to do a draw for one of those. So we're going to give away a KFC dip for Canada and one for the US. So 2 of them to give away. So make sure you enter if you haven't already. Do your torches reseed skeletons when they are splitting? I don't think so. I haven't noticed that. Generally when I see them splitting, it just kind of morphs into 2 heads very slowly. What siphon hose do you recommend for sandbag cleaning? Honestly, I think they're all the same. It's a tube with a hose. Basically, how long do you want the tube, depending on the dip of your tank. Bigger hose is going to suck out faster. You know, a smaller hose is going to be slower. So I have 3 or 4 of them, and I just grab whatever one. It says the video is gone. Here, let me copy it again. Copy link address. There, try that one. Okay, anyways. So if you want any last minute entries, get in there before I do it. Perfect excuse, consolidated to 1 giant aquarium, easier maintenance. That would be cool to do, but if one day maybe. The problem is I have 200 gallons on a 2nd floor of a house right now, and going any bigger on a 2nd floor is starting to feel a bit dicey. Like I had Megan come over, who's an engineer, and like assess the situation and gave me some tips, and I reinforced it. But still, any more than that's probably pushing, because that's a lot of weight on a 2nd floor of a house. Patrick, I got a dog face puffer and he loves eating my corals. That sucks. I've only ever had a pea puffer. I love puffers because they're super cool fish, but they definitely will eat your snails. Sucks feeds your coral though. I used to have a hippo tang that was a punk like that, and it would pick up my corals and it'd drop it, and it'd like rearrange my tank all the time. It'd drop the frag on other corals, and the corals would fight to the death, and then I'd lose a coral, which sucks. So eventually I traded it, and my wife was mad at me because she liked that fish, but so that happens. So sometimes certain fish just aren't as friendly in a reef tank. Listen to your streams with Thomas. Turn my nano into a softy Zoe only tank. Nice. I'm still debating what to do with it. So on this tank, I have the Focusronic light above the bottom there, and there's a 2 foot by 2 foot area that's probably 8 or 9 inches deep. It's basically a whole nother tank, and I'm debating if I turn it into like a cool Zoa tank, or I just try, growing, like a cool acro, just like second display, or if I go down to like more rock flowers. I don't know. Debating what to do, but I kind of want to make like a second tank within the tank, or maybe I do like cool macroalgae. I don't know. I'm still debating what to do with it, but I want to do something cool down there to have like 2-in-1 tanks. It's kind of my way of sneaking in a second tank. Ugly Reefer, good point. 88 people watching, only 12 likes. All right, guys, if you enjoy it, hit the like button. Make the YouTube gods happy. Yosef, I recently picked up an MP10. Was wondering if you can be so nice to give me your template for the MP10 or any other versions of the pump you have. I'm super lost with which settings to use. I used to jump around with all different programming on the Vortex. Like I'd have like the nutrient transport for a while and, you know, go to like the lagoon mode at night and reef crest in the day. But honestly, I leave them all on reef crest now. It's random. It goes up and down. It changes throughout the day. And that's all I use now. Like you can do it all, but that's it. Like this one, same thing. All reef crest. My box, all reef crest. Like that's basically my go-to. It randomizes it and you just set your max and you're good. So I find that works really well. So I would just use reef crest. That's my favorite mode. Just an addition to the house, a man cave, you can dedicate the whole wall. Yeah, one day. That sounds expensive, but it would be nice. Microbius Blue, are you still keeping a phytoculture running? I'm not at the moment. I will probably do it again one day, but I just don't really have the time or space right now. I still have all the stuff to do it, so eventually I'll spin it back up, but life's been crazy, so once I moved, I kind of shut her down and haven't gone back to resetting it back up. Thumbs up hit. Appreciated, Planet 3D. Mervin. I just cleaned my Reef Octopus 250 internal skimmer and now it won't skim. All I get is a pot of bubbling water and no skimmate. Any suggestions you have? I reduce the air, slow down the pump, everything else I can think of. Skimmer is almost 3 years old and it's never done this before. To me, it sounds like it's not getting air. Generally, if it's not bubbling, there's probably something stuck in your venturi. So in the front of the skimmer where that little hose comes down, there's a little hole there, and that's what sucks air in and mixes it with the pump. And generally, if it's not working, that is clogged. It could be like salt creep, you know, something else could be in there, a little chunk of algae, but usually that is not letting enough air get through. So one way you can like some people just pour water down there, you can just pop it out and rinse it out. Or I find some skimmers, if they don't have enough suction for there, you can just lift it up a bit and put it back in, and it lets it suck in air, and once it starts, it keeps going. So you can try all kinds of stuff like that, but I'm 95% guessing it's something to do with your venturi being a little bit clogged. Alright guys, now the question is, did anyone else enter that contest? Hey, Bruno got in there. Excellent. Bruno, you have to tell me where you're from, buddy. US or Canada? This is a key part of the process. Where are you from, Bruno? Because I'm giving away for one for each country. This is why you have to tell me which one you are in, so I know which one to pull you from. Bruno. Bruno Mars. All right, Bruno, you're on the list as long as you tell me where you're from. Oh, USA, you did tell me. Okay, good. All right, guys, 5 more minutes. Get those entries in on that video if you haven't done so. How are you going with your rock flower nabs? I got 30 cycled. Nice. They're doing well. I have... Yeah, you did say USA. Sorry, I missed it. Overall, pretty good. They're randomly. The Nano used to have tons of them. I probably have a handful in my big tank, and I have a handful randomly through here. I do think it would be cool to throw a bunch of this up. Rock flowers are super easy. They're beautiful. I think they're a really cool way to do it. Mark, would you recommend to clean the sand bed? Honestly, anything works, ma'am. Like, it's a hose with the tube. I don't think there's a big difference for any of the standard ones. It's whatever's cheap and the length is good for you. I've made my own. I've done all kinds of stuff. If you want to do like the recirculating version, you can I did a big crazy video on that one called the Ultimate Sandbag Cleaner. If I was to do it again though, I would use a smaller tube on it just because it was a pain to prime it. But once it's primed, it worked phenomenal. It was just a pain to get it started. How do I enter the draw? All right, Mark. That video, comment with a reefing tip and tell me if you're in US or Canada. That's how you enter. 5 more minutes. We'll draw some names. You gotta come to Aquashella or Reef Palooza 2023. I probably will actually, you know, next year I'll come to a show. This year has been a bit dicey because I just had a kid, but I think next year I probably will start going to some again. I've never been to Aquashella. I've definitely been to a couple wraps, so I'll do a couple shows next year. It'll be good to get back into it. I miss it. It's been a few years with all the crazy of the world. I shall ignore the caps. What type of acros are tabling? That's a good one, man. Just Google the names with any ones you're looking at and see the growth. Okay. That's actually another good point. When you are placing corals in your tank, it is a really good idea to see what like the mother colony looks like, or Google it and see what they look like in other people's tanks. Because, for instance, you know, if you want to put one that's tabling, maybe you want to put that one lower so you're not like shading some branching one right there. Like, it's always a good idea to get an idea of how it's going to grow out and go from there. Like, tabling ones can look super cool, but they can also like shade off a bunch of stuff and then limit your placement to stuff in a tank. That being said, with like the new radions and stuff, there's so much light everywhere, it might not be that big of an issue anymore. So, food for thought. I feel I have to scavenge for vendors carrying rock nymphs at times. Yeah, it really depends where you are. Like, rock nymphs are crazy. Like, they're overly priced in Canada. When I was in Florida, they were like dirt cheap. So I actually bought most of mine in Florida. So it really depends where you are. Wood shaking at them. Yeah, so really depends where you are. All right, Bruno. All right, guys, you got like 2 more minutes to enter that draw. Wait, should I just pick a random name, or should you do the Wheel of Death? Haven't done that one in ages. Phil, if you want to enter the draw, get in there fast. Go, go, go. I'm late selling some corals to a local reefer. Nice. Enter the giveaway. Oh, perfect. Let me refresh the page so I can pull in your comment. Phil, why don't I see your comment? Nope, haven't done it yet. Tip plus country. Yep, tip plus country. To do it on that video, do the Wheel of Death. All right. Yep, tip plus country. That's how you enter. A few people didn't tell me their country, so I'm like question marks if they count. But it's because I have a kit that I'm going to ship out, and there's going to be a second one that Kung Fu Coral ships out. And he's in the States, I'm in Canada, so that's how we worked it. All right, Wheel of Death it is. To enter, comment on the video. Yep, that's all you got to do, John. James got entered as well. Okay, perfect. I'm going to go to the video and just pull off any new comments. There's also going to be the other giveaway we're doing. Sorry that one's going to be for Canada only, but for some corals and gift certificates. The weather's not being crazy hot, so hopefully in the next few weeks that order will come in and we'll do a fun one with that one. All right, Aaron, got you in there, and you're in US. Perfect. T Reefer, you didn't give a tip. If you just entered that one, make sure you add one. All right, Cody. Let me add you in there, Cody. Cody Spencer, you're in the game. Reefing tip redundancy is key. It really is key. And Cody, you are in US. Can we rig it so I win, save my Audi golds? Sorry, buddy, no rigging it, unless you can somehow hack the random wheel picker name that I have loaded. What's up, T Reefer? Poor man's Reef. Entered Sammy. All right. Okay, let's go Let me get Sammy. I haven't done the wheel in so long. I used to love doing those Wheels of Death. They're fun. Couple of sort by newest comments. Sorry guys, give me 2 seconds. I'm almost done. Reef Dork, 4 seconds ago. Perfect. US definitely has the advantage on this one. Or, yeah. Redundancy. Hidden Gentleman. Thankfully I had the... I was actually really impressed with how well it works. Interesting thing, someone commented, I don't know if they're watching right now, but they commented on that video about potential like dangers of it building up some kind of bacterial resistance, which, I mean, if you're doing it for months and months and months, maybe I could see that. But if you were doing it for like a week or two, the odd dip, like, I can't see anything building up a resistance that fast. It seems like something that would take a long time to happen. At least that's in my personal opinion. That again, I am not a scientist or biologist, but I would just think it would definitely take a while for that to happen. Mark, you are in. Mark, what country are you in? You didn't. Oh, you're in Canada. Attaboy. Sorry, it was way down underneath Canada. Phil, Reef Keeper. All right, I'm almost done collecting names, and then I will actually get back to the chat. Okay. Okay, Reef Keeper, you're in there. It's a lot of work gathering names when you're live. What's your opinion with carbon dosing? Carbon dosing, I've done it in the past. It definitely works. I have had a bit of a weirdness with some of the stuff where it's had, whatchamacallit, like, if you do too much of it, you're going to get like a bit of a bacteria film in the tank, because your carbon dosing is feeding the bacteria. And if you get too much from the tank, you will get weird, like, stringy bacterias. But the biggest thing that messed with me is my yellow tangs. One of them started to get like bits of red blotchiness from it, which I thought was really bizarre. And I quit carbon dosing after that because I didn't know what the heck was affecting him. And so that was really weird. So I would go much more modified. I was also using vodka at the time, so maybe I'd try doing a commercial product instead now if I was to try it again. But all right, Patrick. All right, guys, if you're not entered, I think I'm cutting it off now, so hopefully you entered. It's because I've refreshed the page like 10 times trying to get names in here. Okay, Patrick, you are in there. You are US. Diamond Reef, Canada. Reef Doink, you're in there. Hidden Gentleman, yes, yes, yes. James Scott. I don't think you're in there, James. I don't see any comments from you. Jay Ellis, 6 minutes ago. I'll get you in there. US. Sammy D13. This is dangerous doing it now. I actually pulled all the names before the stream. I told you all to enter, so now I have to do it all again. US. Sammy D13. Raffling off KFC Coral Pack. Yes, yes, I am. What's your fastest growing high dollar acro? Honestly, probably the golden rod. That guy is super cool looking. And it's getting cheaper now though, but when I got it, it was like this teeny little stick what I traded some stuff for, and that one's been growing really fast now. I don't know what it's currently selling for, but it was definitely up there at first. Okay, Diamond Reef, are you in there? You're in there. You're in there. And gentlemen, yes. Mark's in there. Reef Keeper Phil's in there. All right, James Scott, I don't see your name still. Still don't see James Scott. Last chance. Then I'm cutting off. 2 more minutes, and then I'm gonna look. One more refresh for new comments, and then it's cut off. T Reefer, I did see you, but did you comment? You did. T Reefer, yes, you did. So basically, I'm just going through and grabbing all the comments. All right, T Reefer, I'll add you in. Where are you from? You are USA. US. Oh, I got you earlier, T Reefer. You're good. All right, guys, last refresh. Whatever's in is in. Last refresh, newest comments. Oh, Adam, you put a comment in. Good man. Adam Moore. US. All right, you're in. Cut off, guys. Okay, perfect. Just me thinking Is the cripple thing that hung me up, thinking of just going to vet and asking. Honestly, your vet is probably... All right, James Scott, I'll add you to the list, but I need to find you to verify it. Because I don't see you. If you're in the US, there's a lot of places to find those meds online. If you're in Canada, it is much trickier, and a vet's probably your best bet. Yep, someone find you, John Kid. Yeah, I don't think you're on the right video. Yeah, so Canada is definitely trickier, and a vet is your best thing. You know, if you have a good rapport with your vet and you explain what you're using it for, there's some hope, but if you don't, then it might be a bit trickier. That's kind of the weird thing. I don't know why they care so much about it, but which is funny. There's tons of places to sell it online in the US, but then the shipping's a bit trickier. All right, John Kid. I clicked the wrong video. All right, James, John, both of you guys, quickly comment. Go fast. James Scott. Dun dun dun. Too late. Oh well, yeah. I have you know anyone using the brand of ABC reagents and the Neptune Trident? I've seen people talk about doing it. I haven't tried it myself. There was a couple people I talked to that had tried it. They said it works just as well. Again, that's something I have not personally tried yet. I mean, I probably would. But on mine, if you hack into the code for it, you can change the frequency. So mine only tests half as much. So I'm testing twice a day instead of 4 times a day. So it already lasts twice as long. So I haven't overly been tempted to do it because I figure it lasts a long time already and it works really well. So that's been kind of my thoughts on it. So maybe one day I'll try it, but just the stock one lasting twice as long has worked pretty well for me. So I've been happy with that one. Okay, USA, that, Adam, you're good, you're good, Austin, or no, Jamie Reef Tank, that is not a call. Edit that baby, put in a pro tip. Can't just tell your country, it's gotta be a tip. That's the key to entry here. I can't make it too easy, right? I gotta have a little bit of work in there. All right, whoever is here is what we're cutting it off. James Scott, okay, you're officially on the right video now, good work. Okay, James is USA. James, yep. Poor man's Reef. Poor man's Reef, edit your comment. Give me a tip. All right, poor man's Reef, you are US. All right, make that official by giving me a tip. And dun dun dun, we're gonna go for the wheel picker. Austin, get an ATO. Where are you, Austin? Can I find you on the page? Austin, USA, good. And John Kidd, last try. Are you in here or are you not? Nope, no John Kidd. Sorry, buddy, too late. Alcatronic or Mastertronic? Okay. I would say the Alcatronic is more important than the Mastertronic. One, because it's dirt cheap in reagent. You can get that bulk reagent, and that 1 gallon jug literally will last me like 1.5 years plus. It lasts ages, so really good way to do. I think stable alkalinity is one of the most important things for a reef tank. Mastertronic is definitely nice to have as well, and it tests all the stuff that nothing else does for the most part. So I think it's a great way to go, and you know, nitrates, phosphate, you know, all that other stuff is great. Now, consideration here, like I have the Trident as well, and I have the Mastertronic and Alcatronic all in the same tank. It's ridiculous and overkill, but it's wonderful. Yes, it is about wheel time. It was on the live stream, not the video, John. So on the with the Trident, you get calcium alchemig. That's the same stuff. You can make it test a little bit less, make your reagents last longer, which is what I did. Now, but the other thing is, though, you're also committed to a certain amount of testing with reagent, where the Alcatronic, what I really liked about it is I could test every 12 hours was the minimum, so it's twice a day. but the reagent was dirt cheap and it lasted for ages. The thing I like about the Mastertronic is you could test once a week if you want, right? Because you pick your day within that 7 days. So you can test everything once a week. So if you want to test multiple times per day, Alcatronic or Trident. If you want to test, once a week to get your baseline weekly test, then Mastertronic. So you'll see. But yeah, I have an Alcatronic and a Mastertronic on both tanks. Don't have any corals yet, just starting the journey, slowly but surely. Elk over pH, yep, stable elk is important. Higher pH will help stuff grow faster. Basically sums it up. Stuff will be happier. Dedicated reefer, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Love the Trident, plus its auto-satisfying capabilities. Yeah, so the auto, tweaking your dosing, I think it's super cool. Okay, so quick. What do you think? Do we do 2 wheels of death for Canada in US, or do I just throw all the names in one and whoever the last man standing for Canada wins and whoever the last man for the US wins? What do you think? That's the quick deciding factor here. You guys can pick 1 wheel with everybody and just pick the last one of each, or 2 separate wheels. Dun dun dun. Perfect explanation. Yeah. I feel so overkill having the 2 on the water box, but it's cool because they keep each other honest, right? So if one's out of whack, I can compare with the other one. And even though I know they're not 100% calibrated, there's about a 0.2 difference in my readings, but they're consistently 0.2, so I'm happy, right? And plus they test at slightly different times in the day. 2 wheels, last man standing, 1 wheel of death, 2 separate wheels, 2 separate. All right, 2 wheels it is. Okay, let me sort this by country. Make sure everyone just says US or CA. US. All right, 2 wheels it is. Okay, so delete, sort A to Z. Pfft, everyone's in the US. Whoever entered in Canada has sweet odds because there's hardly anyone in there. All right, guys. Wheel of Death has been updated. Dun 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 dun. Okay, so what we're gonna do is elimination style. So every spin, we're gonna remove a name. So this is last man standing is gonna be the winner. And I am totally on the wrong scene. Let's try this one. Nope. There we go. This one looks better for that. So get this fitted. Good old Wheel of Death. We want a beaver on our wheel. I don't know if I can. One of the wheels I've used in the past, you actually could put a logo in the middle, and I could totally do that, but I don't think this one gives me that power. Background damage, no. No duplicates. Have to spin. Remove, yep. Okay, last man standing, guys. So 1 of each. Now this should be, just gonna double check and confirm, but this should be all the US people for this wheel. Yep. Not Ecamm. I use OBS. It's the free one. So you are not a winner here if you get this one. Sorry, Patrick. I know you're on the stream. Dun dun dun. Sorry, buddy. You gotta ignore the fake. It's like false hope fireworks. So Ecamm experience. Yeah, I just click on the wrong stream. That's okay. I have like 8,000 tabs for different things. Sorry, Rob. Dun dun dun. Everyone in the chat entered. Everyone that commented on the other video, which I posted like 3 times in the chat. So if you're paying attention, you probably entered. Sorry, Cody. It was a good effort. Dun dun dun. Whew, that was close. I know, right? Yeah, OBS is awesome for free if you guys want to stream. It's very powerful. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it. Sorry, Aaron. So Canadian, eh? I say sorry every time. False hope fireworks. It's so true. Sammy, I know you're in the chat too. Sorry, Sammy. Dun, dun, dun. It's fun though. It's fun doing the eliminate way. Sorry, Phil. You survived the 1 round, but not the next one. Sorry, buddy. Had Ecamm and let it try out. Yeah, honestly, try OBS. It takes a little more to learn, but it works really well, super powerful, and it's free. I mean, can't beat that. Ah, sorry, Austin. This is brutal. This is more fun. Oh no, Adam, you're in the chat too. Dang, sorry, Adam. You're great at multitasking. Thank you. Jamie, Reef Tank. Sorry, Jamie. The fireworks are totally full, so. and. Oh, James. Sorry, James. Dun dun dun. Tragic. Oh, poor man's Reef. Sorry, buddy. That's the chat. No. And Jonathan. Farewell, Jonathan. E for effort. What's even worse is when you're in the last three names, edge of your seat. It's true, it totally is. Marcus. Farewell, Marcus. I'm gonna try, I don't know, I gotta figure out some new ways to do some fun contests. I miss doing these more often, they're fun. Dave, you're in the chat too. Sorry, Dave. Hey, there's no rigging. You can't say rig anything with the wheel. It's completely chance. The mock wheel. That's why I like the wheel. There's like zero rigging. It is just random luck, which is more fun. Oh, Bruno, you're in the chat too. Sorry, Bruno. You gotta guess quick there, Sammy, if you want to get the winners. Oh, Robert. Farewell, Robert. Dun dun dun. Hee hee, you're not looking hard enough because you're in the... I did see you at some point. Dun dun dun. Hidden Gentleman. You're in the chat too. Dang. Dun dun dun. Jay Ellis. Oh, sorry, Jay Ellis. My daughter is saying a chicken coral dip. Well, they're actually, I don't know if it's in the States, but they do have a place called KFC here, which sells chicken. It's called the Chicken Hut, so I totally thought of the same thing. Oh, sorry, Jay Ellis. Oh, Teacher Reef. Dun dun dun. Totally jinxed him. And. Oh, Matt. Sorry, Matt. You guys are jinxing him by calling out names. Dun dun dun. So what do we got? Daniel, Reef Dork, and Born to be Shooter. Ah, Daniel. Yep, KFC chicken. The chicken dip. Which is funny because I actually Googled the chicken KFC dip, and the first thing comes up is like the chicken place. Oh, so I Reef Doink. Born to be Shooter. Congratulations. You are the last man standing. What's happening? Born to be Shooter just won a KFC coral dip pack. So let me highlight you in my spreadsheet and message me on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere, and we will get you hooked up. Born to be Shooter. All right, what was your tip actually? Let's see. Let me bold you, so here's a fine. Live in Ohio, but on the coast of North Carolina near the Outer Banks. Reefing tip for me is to regularly check the health of coral invert fish so that if you notice any changes, problems with them early on, you can take action before it gets bad and make friends with some people who really know what they're doing. Solid tips. Congratulations, Born to be Shooter. If you are on the stream, congrats. If you're not on the stream, well, hopefully you're watching this because you need to reach out to me on Facebook, or if you're in the Reefdudes Facebook group, super easy way, or on Instagram, take your pick. But it's one of the ways. All right, now where is round 2 for Canada? Canada's slacking the people that actually qualified to the rules. So this is going to be a quick one. Dun dun dun. High odds for Canada. You slackers. Oh, Avish, I think you're in the chat. Sorry, buddy. It's like I feel extra bad when I see these names in the chat. There's another Matt, though. So you might even write someone that they're guessing the mat. Dun dun dun. Oh, Jay Kelly. Sorry, Jay Kelly. Dun dun dun. 3 left. And oh, Matt. Sorry, Matt. 2 left. Dun dun dun. And. Oh, sorry, Mark. I think Mark might have been in the chat too. Sorry, buddy. Diamond Reef. All right, Diamond Reef. Congratulations. I think you might have been in the chat. Diamond Reef. All right, Diamond Reef. Message me, Instagram, Facebook. Take your pick. Send me your deets, and we will get you hooked up. Yep, sorry, Bruno. That happens to the best of us. Oh, sorry for the intro. Hey, I'm back. All right, well, that was fun. I know. I was rooting for you, Mark, man. It was a good one. Okay, Diamond Reef, born to be shooter. You guys, contact me. Congratulations, by the way. Super awesome. Wheel of Death is fun. We're going to do it more often. I just got to figure out more stuff to play with. So congrats. Yeah, you didn't win. But one day you will, Mark. Congratulations. Oh, Canada. Yep. Happy. What is it? You guys have a long weekend in the States right now. There's sales for it. Happy whatever the holidays. Commercial break. Yeah. My intro is part of the first scene, so when I swap back to it, I forgot to turn it off. But it's fun. All right, guys. While we're at it, do you guys have any other reefing questions that you guys want to dig into? Let me know. Brought to you by Reefdudes, making it easy. That's the whole point of the channel. This is why I spend countless hours making videos every week. It's the labor of love. I'm going to, but I don't do it. What else do we got? I had a couple other questions I pulled from earlier. Now, there's the AskReefDudes thing on my website where people email me questions. And I try to answer most of them, and sometimes I'll just save them for the stream, or I'll answer directly if it's a nice, quick, easy one. But poor man, listening to the Wheel of Death while showering, probably the only stressful shower I'll ever take. I love it. So good. Okay, Will, I have a 40 breeder mixed reef, and my father has a 75-gallon mixed reef, and we're looking for some good herbivore options for both. In the 40, I currently have half black angelfish in the 75, a lemon peel angelfish. Have been interested in a tank. What would be a good recommendation for both tank sizes? So in a 40-gallon, I would not put a tang. That is too small, unless it's a baby tang. If it is a baby one, and you're going to home it later, fair enough. But I would still stick something smaller, like a Tamini tang. Actually, I have one in here, a white-tail bristletooth, hiding in the shadows over there. But they stay fairly small. They're one of the smaller tangs. They do work very well. In a 40, honestly, I would you could look at Lamar blennies, those type of fish. But I would probably just buy like a pink urchin or something along those lines. They work well. They're tiny. They might steal and carry your fragments on the tank. But aside from that, they're awesome algae eaters. They just devour it. I remember in my original Peninsula tank, which ironically was just against the wall, but I put a pink cushion urchin in my sump. And after like a week, my sump looked freaking pristine. Every side, the glass, everything was like sparkling. Like they're ferocious, awesome fish for that. Same thing, 75-gallon tank. I'd look at like a bristletooth or Tamini tang. I think they'd be awesome for those tank sizes. Okay. So I have to go back to the fawn marine one. So the KFC dip, I put in the effort. I did 4 days of dipping over that week. So I did all the proper ones. The fawn marine one, I did the initial dip, and it seemed to work well. However, I never did follow-up dips because I had a kid and life was crazy and it never happened. So I didn't give it a full proper test. What I've been told from Chumming Hands Reef and some other people, that it does work, pretty close. I don't know if it's as good, but it still works well, and it's an easier to obtain alternative because it's one bottle, it's pre-mixed. Now, I haven't long-term tested it. Now, next time I have a coral that is having more issues, I will try doing multiple dips with it and give it a good comparison that way. So I haven't given it a full enough test. It did seem to work, but again, I need to give it more love to say definitively 100%. All the stuff in the KFC dip is used. I've used all of it with the ChemiPure. Basically, if you look at these dips, it's assuming something bacterial is causing your issue with the coral. ChemiClean, the amoxicillin, the cryoceproflaxin, whatever the heck it's called, I'm butchering the names, the iodine, all this stuff. Yes, it was the RTN STN one. Basically, all of them are antibacterial in a way, or something to kill the bad bacteria. I mean, good bacteria, bad bacteria, it doesn't care, is killing bacteria. So the theory is, if there's some bad bacteria affecting it or attacking it, you're taking the bacteria sledgehammer, wiping it out, and then putting it back into an environment. Now, if your tank is full of bad bacteria, I mean, there's still a chance it's going to attack it again or whatever, but at least you're like, if you have a fish with like ick or something, and you give it a therapeutic copper bath, right? As long as you're not doing too much, it's going to help it in a way, because it's helping it shed that initial layer of stuff. And that's kind of what you're doing to the coral. So you're removing the bacteria, you know, in theory, the bad bacteria, and then it gives it a chance to kind of recover on its own. Now, with that, I was also giving it the hydrogen peroxide dip coming in and coming out, plus turkey basting it. So that, again, is going to help to kill stuff. And it's also going to help, the hydrogen peroxide is also going to help kill off any algae and other stuff. So you're basically removing anything that would potentially have a negative impact on it. And that's kind of the theory behind it all, at least my understanding of it. What are some coral cleanup crew you believe would survive in a Fowler tank with the worst offenders? Some coral cleanup crew. Oh, coral or cleanup crew. Depends who the worst offenders are. I mean, assuming you don't have a pufferfish, then I would obviously go for snails and some urchins and whatnot. And if you have a pufferfish, those will be expensive snacks. Coral, I'd just stick to softies. Like, I wouldn't do expensive LPS by any stretch, but I'd do like some like neon green Nephia, like super bright ones, like probably a toadstool, zoas, you know, some cool mushrooms. Stuff like that's hardy and grows well. And I don't think I'd ever do just fish only. Like, I'd zoas, like whatever, just even if they take over, who cares? It gives you colorful rocks. But I would do something along those lines for a predator style tank. Andy, I was watching a video yesterday and there are people using Dettol to dip corals. What is your opinion on this? I have no idea what Dettol is, so let me quickly Google that and then I will tell you. Dettol. Cleaning disinfectant with antiseptic. That sounds sketchy to me. Effective concentrated antiseptic solution that kills bacteria and provides protection against germs. Gentle antiseptic. I mean, in theory, possibly works. I don't know. It still sounds a bit sketchy. I would let many other people go first on that one. If it's safe for humans, I mean, I'd be less likely, but disinfectant sounds sketchy. But then again, so is, you know, hydrogen peroxide or alcohol, right? So it really depends what's in it. UK uses a lot of Dettol. Really? As a dip, Phil? That's the first I've ever heard of this one, so it's new. Life with the young kids and trying to do something like using a shovel to frag your tank can be done, but it's brutal. Yep. Yes, it is. Might as well try Neosporin. I don't know. If anyone's tried it, let me know. I've never heard of it, so I feel like I've recognized the logo. Like, I've probably seen it before, but I've never personally used it. I believe it's hydrogen peroxide based. Well, so, okay, that's the thing. If it's hydrogen peroxide based, why not just buy some hydrogen peroxide? Hydrogen peroxide works well as a dip. It can kill bacterias. It can kill algae. I primarily use it for algae because it works well. If you got a bunch of algae on a frag plug, you know, give it a dip in this and it'll look like pristine and clean. Zoas work very well in it. Like, I've dipped them in straight hydrogen peroxide. Zoas, like about a minute and a half is the most I'd want to do. With acros, you gotta be a little more cautious. With smooth skins especially, they are not a fan of it. So sometimes I'd just like use a toothbrush and scrub the frag plug off with it. But like, peroxide itself works well, and you know, even as like dump a little bit in once in a while because it will help kill the algae in the tank. You obviously don't want to overdo it, but I generally say 1 mil per 10 gallons in my mind is the safe amount to dose per day. So yeah, it does work well. If you are spot treating algae with it, I just turn off the flow and put in like a little syringe and just spot treat right around it. leave your flow off for 10-15 minutes, turn it back on, works really well. Remember Aaron's aquarium, he's talking about Dettol. Huh, interesting. I haven't talked to Aaron in ages. I don't know if he's still around or not, but been a while. Strictly used for zoas and killing algae. Okay, in that case, to me, I would just use hydrogen peroxide. But yeah, it definitely works. I mean, it works well. Like, I have a buddy, and he used to dose, like, I think he had a 150, 60-gallon tank, and I think he dosed just 10, 15 mils a day on a doser. Every tank looked pristine. Yep, so it works good. Yeah, so honestly, hydrogen peroxide can work some magic. You can also spray it on your rock. I have seen that. I've seen people that had really bad algae and they drained it down, their tank down, and then sprayed it on the rocks and let it sit for like 15 minutes, and then they could fill it back up and it would kill it. Now, there is the other thing that I've tried a while ago with what is the anti-Baropsis stuff called? Mind blanking, fluconazole. That same thing. If you have a really bad algae issue, fluconazole can work magic. I've used it before, and literally within like a week or 2 weeks, like all the algae basically just like dissolved and disintegrated. So I mean, if you have a refugium, obviously a terrible idea, or remove your algae first. But it works really well on algae. Make sure the maintenance bacteria dose when peroxide dosing. Yeah, good point, Mark. So if you do too much, also stagger it too, right? Because if you're adding this, you're killing the bacteria. You want to make sure you're also adding in some new bacteria, right? So dosing something like Microbacter 7 or something, that will help replenish some of the good stuff as well. I mean, my little splash isn't going to take out all the bacteria in the tank, but if you are using more of it, dosing bacteria as well, you know, a couple hours later to offset it works really well. Yeah, fluconazole is like magic for dealing with like hair algae or bryopsis. I've used it as a double dose to clean up hair algae in a tank, and it worked phenomenally well. Now, the thing to know though is it will absolutely get rid of it, but it's not fixing what caused it in the first place. So if you have some other nutrient issue or something else, it will come back eventually, right? So it is a sweet sledgehammer to get rid of it, but it will return eventually if you don't deal with whatever was causing it in the first place. So something to keep in mind. I did neither of those. You say snails are the best fighters for algae. Turbo snails work well, but honestly, pincushion urchins, not pincushions. Yeah, pincushion urchins. Those, hands down, one of the best cleaners. Those things are just magic. What is the purpose of a scrubber? What kind of scrubber? You can use soda lime pellets to scrub CO2. You can have an algae turf scrubber, which grows basically hair algae to remove nutrients, aka nitrates and phosphate, from your tank, right? So depends what kind of scrubber we're talking about here. Yeah, you have to remove your macros for sure. My last time Reef Flux didn't kill my algae. It was strange. Huh, interesting. When I used it to clean up a ton of frags, I use it at a double dose. So I used double what they said, and I let it sit for like 2 weeks, and that worked. And because before I set up this tank, the corals I had in were covered in algae and whatnot, so I hit it really hard with fluconazole first, cleaned everything up before I moved into this tank. It's a bit of a preventative. Yeah, for sure. Pincushion urchins love to take your frags around. They're like, oh, thanks. Let's carry it around the tank. Flux doesn't seem to be effective. Not sure why. Reflux work great. Oh, Flux RX. I think I've used them both, honestly. I don't know if I've noticed a difference, but double dose it. Was the big thing. Yeah, dosing at the recommendation might work for bryopsis, but for hair algae, I found it needed to be a little stronger for it to work well. So, depends on your type of algae. So that is my recommendation there. On that note, never try the double dose. Yeah, so if you're having an issue, do a second round of it and just double dose it. All right, guys, I think I'm gonna wrap her up pretty quick, but it's been a good stream. Diamond Reef for Canada, Born to be Shooter for US. Make sure you guys message me, because I don't know how the heck you message people. I'll reply to your comment, actually, on the video. That's the easy way to do it. But make sure you shoot me a message on Facebook or Instagram, and we will get you hooked up and get you shipped out a pretty sweet coral dipping kit. If your macros are extremely healthy and have good grow light, I don't think it'll be a bad effect on macros. I haven't tried it. You know, I might take a handful of Chaeto and throw it in and just try it to see. I'm just assuming they won't be happy with it. But then again, I mean, if hair algae can survive a single dose and takes a double dose to kill it, maybe that's the consideration, right? Maybe Chaeto will survive. We'll try it. This next time I use it, I'll throw some in for fun and just see what happens. But yeah, adding it to a bucket while dosing, it's a good way to do it. Alright guys, I'm going to wrap her up for today, but it was a fun random stream, and the Wheel of Death was fun. Good choice, good choice. Cruz, thank you for the amazing super chat. Bruno Mars, thank you as well. Much appreciated, guys. I appreciate you guys helping support the channel and my endless hours of hobby job of YouTube. Refugium didn't miss a beat. Perfect. NSB, that's awesome to hear. Makes me happy. Did they it was one thing. Did they remove messaging from YouTube? Yeah, I think they did. I don't think you can message directly. Or at least I haven't seen a way to do it in ages, but I'll just reply to the comment. It'll be easier. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed it as always. If you did, smack that like button. If you're new